almighty radio.
Welcome, everyone. This is 5RoundMMA. My name is Alex Mares, alongside my co-host, Albert Cita. And on the phone, we have from sunny Orlando, Florida, Guillermo Cita. Hey, Guillermo, just so you know, Albert is wearing a Fly the Pennant LA Dodgers shirt. So he seems to still be in denial a little bit.
Then I call it, dude. I guess I've been right this last couple of weeks. I mean, like, if you really think about it, the only reason I went Michael Bisping is to get back at you guys, or else I would have gone GSP and I would have gone flawless.
You're gone perfect.
You messed up.
Perfect five. Yeah. So today's show is we're still just like emotionally like drained from UFC.
Calm down, Alex.
UFC 217 was such an amazing card.
Guillermo, if you would have went to my house and watched the fight with us, you would have.
I watched it.
No, I'm just saying if you were in the atmosphere, I mean,
I can imagine just being in the crowd and just being the fighters and just excitement, emotion, all that good stuff. We're gonna probably get to all of it. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Guillermo, before we start?
I was gonna say if I was there, I would have just been laughing in your guys' faces because you guys were all had the wrong picks.
No, wait, what? I only got one pick wrong, and that was Joanna Jedrzejczyk, and I think everybody picked that wrong. Actually, I have our Twitter
because you
polls,
copied me, Alex.
Come on.
I talked some sense into you last week, and you believed the hype. You believed me. So.
Actually, yeah, I did. You did convince me about the mind games not working for Joanna Jedrzejczyk, and it actually didn't work at all. So I think I start with UFC 217. Let's go right. I got a timer.
Let's start on cue.
On cue. Hold on, let me fix our banner here. Albert, continue to talk.
Well, anyways, Guillermo, it was a good show.
UFC 217. Let's go with the main event. Michael Bisping gets defeated, gets choked out, passed out by George St. Pierre, and then with the second round, I forgot what the third one. But anyways,
second round.
It's third round, I believe.
Third round.
To become GSP. So GSP, after 4 years absence, is the new middleweight champion.
How surreal is that?
Real quick, guys, is GSP now the greatest of all time? Is he the GOAT? What do you guys think?
100%. He is the GOAT. I was at first I always hesitated against GSP because he was French Canadian.
Yeah.
I didn't mind so much the Canadian part, but the fact that he was French Canadian was kind of hard for me to get behind him. But honestly, the guy's a perfect role model.
A true sportsman. Jason Hendricks of the Dos Leprechauns podcast. GSP is a true sportsman.
In all honesty, you have to give him the crown because if you do the whole channel of Michael Bisping, B. Anderson Silva, Dan Henderson, then GSP beat them. Yeah, and then GSP ruled the welterweight division. It's hard to say he's not the best of all time.
True. Guillermo, do you agree with that?
I do not agree whatsoever. This guy handpicked his opponent, being alpha weight. Why didn't he call out Robert Whitaker? Why doesn't he fight Chris Weidman? Why didn't he fight Luke Rockhold?
Because did you hear his after speech? It's not normal for a man to have that much muscle.
Well, to be honest, guys, he got lucky that Michael Bisping beat Luke Rockhold and it set up that matchup perfectly for him. Because he would have gone down to welterweight and we wouldn't even be having a discussion. The fact that he's champion, whoop-de-doo, yes, he won it. But how many times have you guys even said that Michael Bisping was a fluke? And he's been dodging people left and right. He goes after Dan Henderson instead of fighting the elite middleweights. Mm-hmm. So, and then here you guys are crowning GSP the GOAT. And then don't get me wrong. I mean, he has done a lot in the sport, but I wouldn't go so far as say as the GOAT, because if not, there's somebody right behind him doing everything that GSP has ever accomplished, and that's Conor McGregor. He's even gone outside of MMA, so I mean, like, just relax. Yes, he did accomplish something great, but for me, just to all of a sudden proclaim GOAT when we have a living legend in the sport, relax.
Oh my God, McGregor, living legend. Yeah, forget the banner. Just real quick, we did run a poll on our Twitter account at FiveRoundMMA, asking people who was your pick, GSP or Michael Bisping. We must have like a lot of GSP haters on our followers because,
of course,
64% picked Michael Bisping to win this fight yesterday, as compared to 36% to GSP. So.
All sane people listen to me compared to you lunatics.
And all sane people were wrong. Yeah, I think Joe Rogan brought it up, and we had brought it up too, saying that GSP did kind of handpick it. He kind of saw. Obviously, he still watches the sport or somebody's gym. So hey, you know Michael Bisping's a current middleweight champion. You could totally beat him, right? Yeah, if Luke Rockhold or Jacare or Yoel Romero or Chris Weidman were the current middleweight champions, I don't think he's coming up here to fight again. But obviously, he saw a hole in Michael Bisping's game. He wants to be a sportsman, not give it what the hole is. But he's found it. He said, I could beat this guy, and he did. So give him credit for the challenge, right?
It's funny
and then I also, hey Alex, I also heard like about 7 to 10 years ago, they were training partners. So I mean, like the fact that he also had the confidence that he probably got the best of them during training. I mean, it just showed you guys that he got lucky that this guy was the champion at middleweight.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when Randy Couture got the heavyweight belt against Tim Silva, which
he came out, because he was watching him fight,
and it was a whole scenario where they pretty much told him like, dude, I seen him fight, I see the holes, I can beat him. And it was just because not because he thinks he could compete in heavyweight division.
Yeah.
He knew he can beat the champion.
Yeah.
And he beat him, and then obviously we saw that he didn't belong in that division. But the only reason he really went for the belt was because he knew he can beat the current champion.
Thank you, Albert, for proving my point, dude. It just shows you guys that you guys are retards because here you guys are proclaiming he's the GOAT when you just admitted that GSP can't hang in his weight class.
Well,
weight doesn't belong this way. He even admitted himself. He said it doesn't belong in this weight class.
I think he said he didn't confirm nor deny, but I think GSP would be a madman if he goes up against Robert Whitaker. I think he should gracefully vacate the middleweight title.
Well, I don't think he should say anything officially. He should just say, look, I want to fight Tyron Woodley for the welterweight belt now.
Yeah.
And then after he wins it, then relinquish it.
Speaking of that, too, Tyron Woodley he proclaimed that he's going to go up to the middleweight division and fight and challenge GSP like it was automatic. But it was funny because he was doing the post-fight analysis right next to Chris Weidman. And Chris Weidman, former middleweight champion, completely towered over Tyron Woodley. And even Chris Weidman kind of just laughed. You really want to come up to my division, bro? And I was watching. I couldn't help but do Tyron Woodley, man. You cannot hang. I mean, yeah, obviously Tyron Woodley too.
Like two weight classes.
Okay, same thing. Is Tyron Woodley going to go up to face Jacare, Yoel Romero, Chris Weidman? No, he's going to go up to face GSP because he obviously they're the same size and stature. But I think in the long run, GSP is probably going to vacate, drop down to 170, maybe face Tyron Woodley, maybe or not, or just completely skip over and do a catch weight against Conor McGregor like at 165 because that's where the money's at.
Dude, did you just read my text message to everybody listening?
That was my idea yesterday.
Get out of here, Alex. Come on.
So, and then also real quick,
credit.
too, Guillermo, is this another case of Michael Bisping choking under the pressure again?
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't say choking under pressure, but I mean, like, because, he's hit and miss. I mean, like, he did beat Anderson Silva. He did beat Luke Rockhold. So those were high-stake fights as well, and he came out victorious. So I wouldn't say choked under pressure. I think he overcomplicated things yesterday. I saw everybody says, the takedowns, but Michael Bisping could get up really easily. He was the bigger man. I just think he thought this.
So it looks like to me. So GSP, new middleweight world champion. We'll see where he goes from there. That's it for round number one. We're going to come back and talk about the snake, TJ Dillashaw.
What? You're still talking crap?
No, I'm not.
He admits it.
Unleashing his venom on Cody Garbrandt and the rest of his alpha male adversaries. But before we do that, let's talk about one of our great partners, longtime sponsors, 5 Rounds. Clubland 5 Rounds offers unique collection of apparel and accessories by incorporating the culture, style, and attitude of mixed martial arts that are constantly evolving and improving to become the best fight work company possible in the MMA world. Check out the lines of t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and other great accessories at 5rounds.net. That's the number 5rounds.net. Follow them on Twitter at 5roundswear and on Instagram at 5rounds_. Get it on round number 2 coming up next. Welcome back. Our conversation about UFC 217 continues with the co-main event, Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw.
Called it, bro.
And then,
called it, guys. I called this.
I called it too. What are you talking about? I picked TJ as well. Just so quick, I also ran a Twitter poll on this one at FiveRoundMMA on Twitter. I asked people who was going to come out the bantamweight champion, Cody No Love or TJ Dillashaw, and 77% of the people who voted picked Cody No Love. So I guess we've got a lot of haters on a lot of alpha male elites on our timeline. Was this the ultimate FU to TJ Dillashaw and the Team Alpha Male? Because remember when Cody Garbrandt beat Dominic Cruz? Oh yeah, everybody. It wasn't just me who won. All of Alpha Males won because Dominic Cruz just ran a bus through our whole gym, and then now like literally just TJ Dillashaw, one man, kind of just diffused the whole Alpha Male gym. Is that a little too much, or is that kind of true?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too much to say. I do want to say that I really do think Cody just underestimated his opponent, which I think was the theme throughout the night, underestimating your opponent. If you look at that round one, TJ was in all sorts of trouble. But, yeah, I think it's just one of those, like, it's a sour taste for the alpha males. But I think ultimately it's hard to say that TJ got the best of him. Because TJ wouldn't even be in that position if it wasn't for the alpha males, right?
Dwayne Ludwig. Guillermo, I think we're going to team up on Albert here because I think you're hating on TJ Dillashaw, the Snake. I think he is a better fighter. I think he's a more well-rounded fighter than Cody Garbrandt is from top to bottom.
That was my biggest point, Alex, is to me, TJ Dillashaw, if you really think about it, it was a close fight against Dominic Cruz. Don't get it twisted. I mean, Dominic Cruz won the fight. But, dude, you're talking about, like, splitting hairs. I mean, the fact how TJ Dillashaw has improved his game was so evident against that Dominic Cruz fight. And going into the Cody No Love, it's funny because I'm watching the fight, and I tell my wife next to me, I was like, if TJ Dillashaw gets in there to fight, like, hand fight and box, he's going to lose.
Oh, like a scrap. If he scraps them, yeah.
Yeah, because Cody No Love, he's a counterpuncher. You can tell right away. He baits you with all his tactics, his touching of his hair and blah, blah, blah. He lets you strike. You make a mistake. He makes you pay for it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's funny. He goes out to the corner, and even the coaches say, hey, you just got to work the kicks. And I told Wendy, my wife, hey, the biggest thing, the biggest advantage that TJ Dillashaw is going to be those leg kicks. And if he's going to knock him out, it's going to be a kick to the head. And what did TJ Dillashaw? To me, TJ Dillashaw is so coachable, and it pisses me off that alpha male is like the like TJ Dillashaw's a snake. Have you guys ever considered that there's something wrong with Team Alpha Male that they can't keep a head coach? You go from head coach to head coach to head coach, and it's always the same thing. Uriah Faber fires them because they don't get along or something like that. Did you guys ever realize that maybe the problem is not TJ Dillashaw? The problem is alpha males. And the what pissed me off leading up to this fight is the same thing that's going to piss me off in the next round, is that you poke and you poke and you poke, and you do all these little freaking shenanigans and, call him a snake, and it's like 9-on-1. Poor TJ Dillashaw. He can't even when he tries to defend himself, you got a freaking bunch of bullies, trying to, discredit his name, and then you pull out this released footage of him getting knocked out. How about where's the footage where TJ Dillashaw probably rocked Cody No Love throughout the training in the previous years? So you poke and it came to fruition, and it, to me, the main theme of the card was all these bullies were poking, and they got what they deserved, losses. Yeah. So that's all I gotta say.
I kind of want to make it this point too that alpha males are kind of Cody No Love was kind of like their last. Well, he still is like the one kind of shining star of that camp.
Whoa! They got Clay Guida in the camp
because so Uriah Faber's retired. Chad Mendes is currently suspended for 2 years for PEDs. Joseph Benavidez is busy with Megan O'Leary and doing fashion stuff on Instagram. Like if you follow Joseph Benavidez on Instagram, he literally just posts his outfit of the day type of thing, posing and comparing himself to Robert De Niro. So it's kind of a weird. I don't know where his mind's at. Plus he's stuck in the flyweight division. As long as Mighty Mouse is there, he's not going to go anywhere. So it kind of really does seem like the alpha male is kind of diffused at the moment. They went from being one of the top camps. I'm not sure they still are, but even Paige Van Sant, I think she leave alpha males, right?
She has her own camp now.
So it's kind of weird. They're kind of in this weird influx where they're kind of either need to rebuild or get some new stars coming out of there or what. But I kind of want to move on to TJ. I mean, good for him. He embraced the snake persona. He had a snake pattern on his T-shirt for the Reebok. Kudos to whoever designed that Reebok shirt. I think they're finally getting more into the fighter's personality here. Move on to the super fight, Mighty Mouse versus TJ. I mean, this could happen. Dana White said that the only hold up, they asked him, what would the only hold it be? And somebody said they'd throw out money that Mighty Mouse is asking somewhere. Like, is it true if Mighty Mouse is asking for the $2 million range? And then Dana White he didn't say no, and he kind of laughed it off. And he said, quote here, this is from the post-fight press conference. He quote, he's a partner. Come on, Mighty Mouse. He's a partner in the pay-per-view. Let's see what your pay-per-view does. You're a partner. Let's see what you make. Listen, you can't be in a position where you're like, I want $2 million. F that. You don't care what you make. I don't care how much this thing sells. I just want $2 million. Go tell your boss you want $2 million. You don't give a crap or expletive what it costs him. See what he says. So it looks like if there is a holdup between DJ and Mighty Mouse, it's going to be Mighty Mouse's demands for more money. And honestly, I don't think that Mighty Mouse nor TJ are even $2 million fighters alone. Together, I think they're barely $1 million fight. So let's see if I'm all for making money, but I mean, come on, DJ, you talking about your legacy, how much it meant to you to get this, the consecutive title defenses, and now you really want to cement your legacy as the best ever. You better take this fight with TJ and don't let the money believe in yourself and believe that people are going to buy a pay-per-view with your name on it. Do you agree, Albert, or do you not agree?
I'm gonna have to say. I'm on the fence with it.
Is Mighty Mouse a $2 million fighter? Is Mighty Mouse a $2 million fighter?
No, he's not. He's not a $2 million fighter. And I'm a big believer that if he wants that money, he needs to show it.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's already getting money from the pay-per-views, if the pay-per-view sells, ridiculously, then obviously he's going to get his $2 million, right?
Yeah. So. What do you think, Guillermo? Real quick.
So what I think is exactly what happened last night is you stack up the card, you put GSP on there or someone very known name as the main event, and you can slide it in as a co-main event, and you have no problem paying both guys $2 million.
Yeah.
It has to happen. This fight has to happen. If not, this is a total. Demetrius Johnson's whole legacy is questionable and not worth talking about if he doesn't fight TJ Dillashaw.
True. I agree. That's it for round number 2. We're going to come back and finish the 3 title fights with Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Joanna, former champion. Is that her new nickname now? Joanna, former champion. Against Rose Namajunas.
Champion. I saw that on the Instagram jerks.
So that's it for. We're gonna come back, but before, let's talk about one of our great new partners and sponsors at Mobilitas. Mobility Tools, the best mobility tools on the planet. Durable, portable, manufactured release products designed with more grip to help you improve performance and recover faster. Visit yourjointsshouldhurt.com for more information. They're also on Instagram at Mobilitas. Like them on Facebook, and visit youtube.com/yourjointsshouldhurt for more great information and tutorials how to stay healthy and get the best workout possible. Round 3 coming up next. Welcome back. Time for round number 3. The third and final, title fight at UFC 217 was a women's strawweight championship between Joanna Jedrzejczyk, Joanna champion against Rose Namajunas. This ended in the first round, very shockingly, with Rose Namajunas knocking out. Or no, technically it was a win by
TKO.
Did she tap out? Didn't Joanna champion tap out?
She tapped out.
She tapped out. So it was a win by submission via strikes for Rose Namajunas. Guillermo, you said coming out like this mind games and taunting weren't going to work against Rose, and it did not. Just real quick too, we did run a poll for this fight. We asked who was going to win tonight between Joanna champion and Rose Namajunas
by 90%.
And 63% of the people who voted for Joanna champion. So yeah, our followers were all wrong.
I feel like they had every fight wrong.
Yeah. They should just go to our picks and just see what we pick and then go from there. Mind games did not work. Should Joanna champion get a immediate rematch? Albert, what do you think?
I want to say yeah, because she's been a champion for so long, and every champion deserves redemption. But at the same time, I think this is like a blessing in disguise for this weight class where you can mix it up a little bit. And so I would actually like to see somebody else fight Rose for her first defense of the title, and then have Joanna fight somebody else. I'm a big believer too that when they lose the title, if it's not in a controversial or like split decision type of thing, they should really earn it back.
Yeah. Again, what do you think?
No, I think the rematch has to happen. I mean, it does create other matchups by Rose having the championship, but you got to strike when the iron's hot. What other girl besides Joanna Jedrzejczyk can sell out a card? I mean, yes, she wasn't the main event, but she can easily main event any other card by herself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is no other names, Albert, out there that you can put alongside Rose and say this is the main event of this pay-per-view card. Maybe on Fox Sports or FS1 card, but a pay-per-view type caliber match, the only matchup left is Joanna rematch. So
Yeah, what's unfortunate too is that Rose Namajunas probably she very decisively beat the two biggest stars in this division, Michelle Waterson and Paige Van Sant. Paige Van Sant's no longer in the division anymore, according to her. So I think that does kind of hurt her. You're left with the remnants of the Ultimate Fighter. You have the Tisha Torres, who hasn't really kind of blossomed. You're left with Carolina Kowalkiewicz, who recently was defeated by Joanna champion. You got Claudia Gadelha, who was defeated by the champion Jessica Andrade, who was defeated by the champion. So basically, you have all these people who have a breath of fresh air now, or new life now that Joanna isn't champion anymore. But the UFC, their two biggest stars, who they feature on all their advertising, Michelle Waterson and Paige Van Sant, are no longer. I mean, Michelle Waterson's still in the division, but she lost. She got knocked out, choked out by the champion, Rose Namajunas, and Paige Van Sant is no longer in the division anymore. So I think it's a little bit of it's in the air. I think might as well do it. I think they should do a rematch just to see how the rest of the division kind of pans out.
Well,
go ahead,
I was going to say, Alex. I was going to say the other thing too is you guys saw it at the post conference is that the personality to sell a fight is not Rose. I mean, like her anxiety, her service dog, and I'm not hating because I was going for Rose. I felt like she has great skill set and great tools, but in terms of fan popularity and in terms of trying to sell a fight, she's not the smack talker that Joanna is. And what I fear is that if you don't give her the rematch against Joanna, or Joanna gets the rematch, if Rose has to sell a fight, she's gonna fail miserably, and it's gonna be a low-selling pay-per-view card, which in UFC's eyes is gonna, drown her.
Just so you guys know too, her last loss was to Carolina Kay.
Okay.
So I still think that should be the matchup next.
But Albert, Carolina, would you order a pay-per-view like you did last night, Carolina versus Rose Namajunas as your main event?
I think you need to Google Carolina and then you'll change your mind, Guillermo.
Yeah.
I think you forget what she looks like.
She's a little cutie pie.
Professionalism here at FiveRoundMMA. It's all about the fighters and the fight. It's all inside the octagon what happens here. But I think Guillermo, I tend to agree with you there too. I think if the UFC's gonna want to maybe to invest in Rose Namajunas and kind of make her a star, they need to handpick her opponents and maybe have somebody who's not as respectful, maybe who could smack talk. That way it's somewhere to sell because, Rose is very stoic and she has a thing in her stare downs where she refuses to show any emotion at all, and she doesn't break the look until her opponents break the look. So, I mean, it's good, interesting to sell. I think they need to get her story out there, and then people will I think she is a babyface champion. She can be, but I think sometimes a heels tend to sell more as champions than babyfaces do. So
the other thing too is she could be babyface. The problem is that she needs the cheap pops like a John Cena does.
Yeah.
She doesn't even have the cheap pops.
Well, maybe she'll get there. Who knows? Joanna J. She said there's nothing personal too. She said she wasn't really kind of talking about mental illness. She's just trying to taunt and see, but didn't. Anyways, that's it for round number 3. We're taking a small break and come back and talk about the rest of UFC 217. Before that, some of our good friends and friends at Those Leprechauns podcast, Jason Hendricks and Nate Hendricks, Notre Dame, all that good stuff. So that's it. Those Leprechauns podcast. The championship round's coming up next. Welcome back. Let's enter the championship round. Let's continue this conversation with the UFC 217 because it was just such an amazing card. We went through the first 3 championship fights. Now let's talk about the Wonderboy versus Jorge Masvidal. Want to go there? I think it's really cool, but it's kind of exposed Wonderboy when you don't put him up against a wrestler. When you don't put him against a wrestler and another striker, he's super fun to watch. But we kind of know what happens when you put him up against a counter striker and a wrestler. He kind of gets muted out. But this fight was fun to watch. I'm still not convinced that he is ready for a title shot as long as Tyron Woodley's champion. And apparently Tyron Woodley has no desire to defend his title anymore because he wants to fight.
He has nothing but GSP on the mind.
This guy, I mean, I'm all about self-confidence and all, and these fighters should have self-confidence, man. But sometimes you just got to recognize that, I'm just not a super fight fighter. Fans don't want me to fight. So fans don't want to see me in super fights. And Tyron Woodley is not one guy.
A title fight.
Yeah.
The champion.
Yeah. So, Guillermo, you got some highlights, news and notes from Jorge Masvidal versus Wonderboy Thompson?
The only highlights I have is how Stephen Wonderboy will never get a title shot as long as Tyron Woodley is a champion. And I agree with you, Alex. He's not championship material, at least not after his fight with George Masvidal, yes, it was a little bit more entertaining, but he's not there yet. I mean, like it's the whole Machida syndrome again. Machida has a fighting style that's hard to crack, but once you figure out that solution, it doesn't make an entertaining fight because it makes it too technical. So you lack the action, but if everybody can implement that game plan, you can defeat a Machida or a Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Mm-hmm. Well, I should also note, too, that Thompson only has 2 career losses, and they're both by decision. So, I mean, the skill level's there, but is it just literally Taiwan Woodley holding him back, Albert?
Yeah, it is.
No, there's plenty of wrestlers in this weight class, too, guys.
Who else? I mean, let me look up the Fisher for Albert.
What I was trying to say is, I don't think he's going to get a top shot anytime soon. So he's better start looking at the other half of the welterweight division. I think the rising stars and Kimura Usman and Guillermo's boy Mike Perry have a better chance.
Man, don't start. I hate Mike Perry.
They have a better chance at the title, depending on their next matchups. I really still hope that Mike Perry wins his fight and fights Colby and Colby.
Lawler?
Colby Covington.
Colby Covington.
Yeah. I hope Mike Perry fights him if Mike Perry wins his fight, and I think just that alone, you might get the Tyron Woodley matchup there.
I also got the superstar of the division now, Darren Till, who knocked out Donald Cerrone. Right now, currently, Stephen Thompson's ranked number 2 behind Robbie Lawler for some reason, who's been MIA for a while. You got Colby Covington behind him. He just beat, and Damian Maia's gone. Rafael dos Anjos is, I don't know where he's at. Carlos Condit's coming back against Neil Magny, I think, right? So, I mean, yeah, Guillermo, just stay busy or what? I mean, this division's kind of an influx right now. Not too many sexy names right there, other than Mike Perry, right?
Well, I was gonna say, put him against Mike Perry here soon, so we can stop that train right away, guys. Because if there's one guy, I think the one fight where I'd be like all decked out in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's gear, man. Let that fight happen. I really wish, and I mean, at this point, to be honest with you guys, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is probably the gatekeeper to Covington, to Mike Perry. Yeah. The Darren Till, did I say his first name right? I know his last name's Till.
Yeah.
But Stephen Wonderboy Thompson could be a great gatekeeper for those guys, and maybe a returning Carlos Condit.
Yeah, true. Let's move on. So is Johnny Hendricks Bellator bound now?
Oh yeah, that's 100%. There's no.
Okay, can he even hang in Bellator, or is he like?
I doubt it. Well, it's gonna be the welterweight division.
He can't make that. He can't make the weight if he can barely make middleweight, dude.
See, middleweight. I don't know. I guess he can still make middleweight because technically there's only 3 huge middleweight fighters.
Yeah.
So he could make a name.
Yeah. OSP knocking out Corey Anderson, head kick KO. That was pretty nice. James Vick. Remember when Joseph Duffy was supposed to be a big thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Now
that didn't work out.
He's lost to Dustin Poirier. It kind of sucks when this is the last guy to beat Conor McGregor, and then like he loses to Dustin Poirier,
he
then
can't get back to Conor McGregor.
Yeah, gets knocked out by James Vick. Yeah, up and down, that's a pretty good card. A lot of emotion into it. I'm not too convinced on Paulo Costa, but I mean, UFC teams like him, so he's 11-0 now. So we'll see. He'll probably get on the next Brazil card, Fight Night in Brazil. He'll probably be featured in there, and then we'll go from there. But that's it for UFC 217. We got one more round coming for you. We're going to preview Anthony Pettis versus Dustin Poirier, which is next week on Fox Sports 1, I believe. So don't go anywhere. Before we do that, let's talk about one of our great partners, great friends over at FightBookMMA.com. FightBookMMA.com is the only place where you'll find real combat sports news from all over the world. A website you can trust with accurate news from MMA, kickboxing, boxing, all of combat sports under one roof. They cover everything from local promotions to the major ones, UFC, Bellator, LFA, King of the Cage. It's all there. Major, minor promotions, they're all there under one roof. There's a great podcast section as well. We're on there with a great collection of combat sports podcasts. Find them on Facebook, like them on Facebook. They're also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that great social media stuff. FightBookMMA.com. Bookmark it. Do yourself a favor. 5th and final round coming up next. Welcome back. 5th and final round. Let's finish out strong, guys. UFC Fight Night. Poirier versus Pettis will take place on November 11th, which is that Friday or Saturday?
I'll tell you in
Saturday.
2 seconds.
November 11th at the
Yep.
PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Will air on Fox Sports 1. Main event, Dustin Poirier versus former lightweight champion Anthony Pettis. Co-main event, Matt Brown versus the Immortal Nightmare Dream, Diego Sanchez. Also on this card, Andre Arlovski versus Junior Albini. Nate Marquardt versus Cesar Ferrar. Rafael Sensa versus Matt Lopez. Joe Lozon versus Clay Guida round out the main card. Prelims are going to be headlined by John Dodson versus Marlon Moraes, which should be a really good bantamweight fight. Tough winner, Tatiana Suarez versus Viviana Pereira. Sage Northcutt's on this card. Angela Hill versus Nina Arsenoff. So also Court McGee's on this card. Not a pretty bad card for the holiday weekend, guys, I think.
No, but I'll tell you this right now, though. This is a must-win card. There's no...
It's one of those cards?
There's no place for any of these people
to lose?
Get that L.
Well, I don't know. Dustin Poirier...
No, Dustin Poirier, remember, he supposedly bounced back to his division, was supposed to be doing good, and then he...
loses to Michael Johnson.
Choked to Eddie Alvarez.
Oh, yeah.
And Eddie Alvarez. So it's a must-win for... I think the whole card, it's a must-win for everybody.
Well, Anthony Pettis, he returned to lightweight, defeated Jim Miller via unanimous decision, and then he calls out kind of Dustin Poirier, like, oh, who do you want to fight? Well, we're looking at Dustin Poirier. So it seems like Pettis is either okay with doing the slow climb back to the top, or he's just like, you know what? I'm just going to chill out for a little bit, let Conor McGregor do his thing up here, and then just kind of, main event fight nights while I can. What do you think, Guillermo? Can Pettis does he have one more title run in him, or is he's just kind of going through the motions now?
Well, no, this is it. This is it for both guys. I agree. I mean, I think the loser out of this is done in this weight class, in any weight class. Dustin Poirier and Anthony Pettis, they have both explored 2 different weight classes, and they both. I mean, even though Anthony Pettis was a champion in lightweight, I think given his recent decline, I don't know what it is, if it's mental, but I mean, it seems like he still has, the ability, the athleticism, but this is it, guys. I think if he loses to Dustin Poirier, what faith do you have in him making a run at this? It only gets tougher from this. And Dustin Poirier, I told you guys he will never be champion. Ever, because he lacks that killer instinct that he should have displayed against Eddie Alvarez. So given that, I think Dustin Poirier will lose, and this is the end of him as well, because where do you go? I mean, he tried at the lower weight class, which is what the featherweight division. He was unsuccessful in the lightweight. He seems to rise. Yes, he can beat those bottom dwellers, but when it matters the most, he chokes. So I think that's the trend that's always gonna be associated with Dustin Poirier.
I also want to point out too that the co-main event between Diego Sanchez and Matt Brown will feature a fighter who is 4-6 in his last 10 fights versus a fighter who is 5-5 in his last 10 fights.
That's the way I like it. That's
so,
the way I like it.
And then both these guys are just get beat up when they lose. So Matt Brown is 5-5 in his last 10. Diego Sanchez is 4-6. Could be 5-5. Questionable decisions, their losses, but so this is basically this is literally a loser leave town match, retirement match.
It's a must win, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Contract on a pole match or what?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised whoever wins even announce their retirement. So
Albert, are you reading my mind?
so
I was gonna say this fight, winner or loser, they're gone from the UFC.
Yeah, not just from fighting, but I'm sure that they'll pop up somewhere. I'm sure Matt Brown on the UFC will pop up somewhere on your TV after this fight, but not in the UFC. Also, Andre Arlovski, who's still going at it.
Who's also must win.
He's also must win because I brought up his win loss. He 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight losing streak Andre Arlovski's going through.
Wow.
His last win was in 2015, and it was a decision against Frank Mir. He's lost to Stipe Miocic, Alistair Overeem, Josh Barnett, Francis Ngannou, and Marcin Tiburu. Arlovski is.
Yeah, but dude, that's kind of unfair because he's lost to the best heavyweight.
Yeah,
and
true.
He hasn't shown bad. That's the thing. Maybe that's why usually 3 fights in a row and you're done.
Yeah.
But he's lost 5 times in a row. He's still there because he's shown well.
Yeah. Also, Nate Marquardt on his card. He's coming off 2 straight losses to Sam Alvey and Vitor Belfort. Only has 2 wins the last 5 fights. Joe Lozon as well hasn't had the best luck. He's kind of alternate wins and losses this past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights, alternate wins and losses.
Let's go, Clay
against
Guida.
Clay Guida, who hasn't been faring too well either. He's alternate wins and losses as well. So a lot of names on here, but a lot of guys who aren't doing too well. This is UFC Fight Night Poirier versus Pettis from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, live on Fox Sports 1, taking place Saturday, November 11th. I'll be watching. Hope you guys will be watching too. Yeah, that's it for this week's show. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FiveRoundMMA. It's FIVERoundMMA. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Podomatic, and YouTube. And visit FiveRoundMMA.com. Albert, what do you got?
I just want to say now that baseball is over, I can now fully concentrate on the Lakers. Man, what's up with Cleveland, yo? Woo!
Ballin'.
Wahoo! The cream of the crop.
You are now listening to FRMMA Radio.